All right. Let me see if some people gonna come in. I know it's late. I was trying to well, first of all, let me say happy 2026. Some people are happy about the new year, while other people have suffered losses. And I want to give my sheer condolences to my good friend, my sister friend that transitioned New Year's Day. Angela Harden. Give me a minute. I'm going to let some more people come in while I put this do-rag on my grandson. That's what delayed me. I was on NAMA duties. Make sure the grand booze is good and all right. Come on. Turn your head around. The other way. Thank you. Oh, goodness. Sit back. Yeah. His hair had to be washed and conditioned. And that's what I did. Part of part of the life of raising grandchildren. I used to have help, but good help is hard to find nowadays. All right. Hi, it's two people here. Good evening. I was putting out my post there. I was planning on going live a little earlier, but however, I was tending to some things here at home, my grandchildren, and resetting myself and getting things together. I was saying a little earlier, and just in case for the ones that came in, this is 2026 and they say Happy New Year, but many people, hi, how you doing? Want to acknowledge everybody in the chat for coming in. I'm your host, I'm Tam behind the mic. But, it's not so happy for a lot of people because people have transitioned, the beginning of the year. And I lost a very dear friend, sister friend, Angela Harden. And I have great memories. And, we kind of mirrored one another. We both lost our daughters at different times. I lost my oldest daughter 2017, and she lost her daughter 2022. And after she retired from the city, she relocated to Atlanta to help her daughter out with her children. Is it just me? No, it's three other people. There's three people in the chat. Yeah, so anyway, um, my heart goes out to the family and myself too, because she was just on my mind. And, you have relationships and you have friendships. And I'm the type of person, I don't have to gossip. Okay. I don't have to gossip and hold conversations because life is lifing. You know what I mean? And from the wreckage of my past, of surrounding myself with the wrong type of people, hey, how's it going? The wrong type of people, I've learned to have some discernment, some self care, some self love to know that I need to surround myself with people that are like minded. You get what I'm saying? And that's what I say about resetting. Because this past year, in doing a reflection of 2025, what I've done is I've taken a look back. And what I mean is that I somehow have reunited or crossed paths with people in my past. And, some of them are stuck for various different reasons. And I've elevated to a certain extent, even though going through trials and tribulations. But my mythology has allowed me to land on my feet, even with many losses. Can you tell my sister that she's always mean to me? She's always mean to you. Why? Well, anyway, um, sometimes, people have their own different auras, and sometimes there's a Cain and Abel, in certain families, unfortunately. But in my case, is that I had to learn. I didn't really necessarily have the adults to guide me. As a child, I was put in a position where I had to learn and figure out things on my own. And some things I didn't learn too fast. And sometimes, that's just life. Sometimes you'll repeat a lesson that you haven't learned. And, you revisit certain things in the past and you find out that you actually haven't missed anything. And a lot of times, I guess people's mindset, when you cross their paths in one way or the other, sometimes in clearing up, and sometimes the universe, God has his way of resetting you to see that those people in your past, they never meant you any good. And what you thought they really were. And your light has to continue to shine even when there's darkness, right? So that's what I've been reflecting on in this new year of resetting and realigning, realigning with positive aspirations because it's been a long, rough road. And like my friend Angela Harden, all my friends is usually older than me. Um, and I have an old soul, and she just had a wealth of wisdom and fun, and she could kind of keep me grounded because we worked on the same job with different floors. When I wanted to really just go off and be that rambunctious young teenager that was surviving, and cool heads always prevail, and she was basically the voice of reasoning. So as I had posted, other people were coming into the feedback and into the chat, and I like to engage in people. Add Q&A sticker. Nah, I don't want to do that right now. And they were saying how inspiring she was for them as well. And one woman retired in 2018. She lost a child too. And so did Angela. And so did myself. And I was able to give back what was working for my family, support groups, because it's a very rough road and it's horrible. And people have a tendency to act like you have the cooties, or yeah, you got the cooties because you lost a loved one, because they don't know what to say. And everybody has this perception on how you should be, and they're not realizing the different stages of grief, and it doesn't align in that particular order. So even with me, this is 8 years later, and I've just allowed myself over the last 2 years to actually, you know, um, get angry and pissed about a lot of the particulars surrounding my daughter's transitioning, and people not listening, and so I've been reflecting. I'm engaged into uh, mindfulness and meditation, a guided meditation through Ronald McDonald House. And they they started this wellness center way before the pandemic, but I found it to be more useful when the pandemic occurred because it was online, and I was able to get over my some hurdles. I was able to set more boundaries. I was able to do some inner work and just kind of be and sit still, just myself and my grandchildren and my dog, Mello. And I liked that peace. And within that peace, I was able to make some changes to my home because my home began to look and feel like that grief, like that sorrow. Because not only did I lose my daughter, 6 weeks later, I lost my godson, Amori, and that anniversary is coming up this month, the January 16th. And it was just a lot. And then his mom, my childhood teenage bestie, transition. It was a lot. It was a lot. So now in 2026, I'm giving myself permission to reset, to reset my goals, to reset my self care, to reset the boundaries, whether it be um, my family members, whether it not be it be just anyone, and be okay with that. And as I continue to build this channel, I'll probably be branching out and creating other channels as well. I'm still working on some bells and whistles um, that are not up and running yet. But I said I needed to tap in and definitely, you know, reach out to my YouTube troopers, and let them know that I'm still here and build this platform. And I really want to give out light, as much as possible, because this energy out in the world is very dark. You know, when you're looking at, who's running the government, and it's not only the president, we could go on the political thing. New York City has a new mayor, Mamdani, and I'm still like the jury's still out on that, so to speak, because I look at things from a different perspective because I have an undergrad in public administration and public policy, and I look at the company that people keep, and that's very important. That's something that I learned also early on in life. And even though you don't have to be part of that, sometimes people you people around you are not participating in engaging in good deeds, you know. And that's a possibility too, because I'm quick to say, well, he got those people around him, but he may not know or may not be privy of their history and what that culture is. Even though I believe he held an office prior to this, to becoming mayor. So, we'll have to see. I'm still listening out for things that would be conducive to my household, and that has children with intellectual disabilities and special needs. And I don't hear too much about that, about the services and, you know, um, working and getting through the red tape. But, he's still new on the job. But I definitely probably would like to have my voice heard on certain things, and accountability, most and foremost. So yeah, I'm renewing my stance with that, and with advocacy. And I've always been, I was, reflecting, and I was taking some notes because I've been doing that. And I said, wow, you've been advocating for good causes since you was a teenager, since when I was living in a children's shelter in Queens, Union Hall Street. And we danced for 24 hours for a nonprofit. And also, I was a cheerleader at within that facility, and we went up against the WBLS Sure Shots. And somebody has those pictures. So at some point this year, my goal is to obtain the archives. And yeah, and just reviving, you know, lost dreams sometimes become awakened. And I think it's imperative that we do that, even in the darkness. Sometimes you have to bring your own light, and shine it. And, even though I get pissed off, and you'll catch me on my live sometimes on Facebook and Instagram, but I tell you, people probably say, oh, she's crying. I've had people say, I cried, I broke down for the first time, I think last April. It was my daughter's birthday, the one that transitioned. And I didn't plan on doing it because that's what happens with grief. All of a sudden, the floodgates open up. It's a ball of emotions. And I had been suppressing and holding in so much for so long, even though I'm an advocate for therapy. I have a therapist, I have anxiety. I'm really transparent on what I'm going through because I feel as though if I can share who I am, not everything, but most things about me, um, it can help somebody else. And I find that you can't necessarily help the closest people to you. Sometimes complete strangers are receptive, and then you don't have that close connection. Hello, hi, how you doing? Fern Davis. Welcome to the Tam Behind the Mic. This is my channel, and I hope that you'll join and you'll share and you'll like and you'll subscribe and all of that. Not join because I don't have the membership yet, but subscribe because I'm still building this channel and I have a wealth of knowledge. I'm a hip hop pioneer that's unsung. I've been the one to ring the alarm about a lot of the, P things going on before in the first generation from my own experience. And because of that, people don't necessarily like it, but you know, and your pathway of healing, it's not for people to like. And when people heal, it's everybody heals differently, so to speak, and that's what I'm finding. And you can't tell the person the right way or the wrong way because you haven't walked into those shoes. So, and renewing myself and reviving, I'm paying attention about self love, self care, and taking care of my inner self, you know. And I think that that's imperative. And, being around wholesome people that's not going to be negative and that are flippant, you know. I can be a little flippant, but not that often. I'm what I am. When I get upset, I'm going to voice my opinion and I'm going to voice how I feel. I'm going to express myself and I'm going to set a boundary. Um, Also, I want to say about last year, I think was a better year than all the previous years. Because, each year is like a roller coaster. But the last couple of years, I've been able to do some things that I didn't think I could do. My health is not 100% and it won't be 100%, but I've been able to go through and endure the necessary procedures and, take care of myself. I'm still working on renewing my body and reviving it. It won't be like it was when I was in the 20s or the teens, but that's part of self-care and self-love and taking a self-look, a self-appraisal, on things that need to change. But last year I was able to be a little more sociable and to attend different functions. I'm always mindful that I can't dance at every party and I can't be on every scene. And it's okay. And sometimes I don't even want to. My lifestyle is different. I'm raising two grandchildren that lost both parents. They lost my daughter and they also lost their dad too in 2023. And they're dealing with trauma. And dealing with trauma and then children that have special needs is requires a lot of insight, training, and patience and love. And if I'm not taking care of me, how can I give it to them? So that's my motto. But yeah, these past 5 years, as I reset and renew, have been, I'm coming along. you know Sometimes I feel like I should be to the other side, and other people too. Some people could be very cruel and they'll say, oh, you should have been over it, that's your daughter. But you know what, until you lose a child, you can't say that. And then I lost my godson, and then his parents transitioned too. And my friend, she passed in a very, she was discovered decomposing. She lost her only child. And to spare it around, you know, Angela lost her daughter. You know what I mean? And that's a heartbreak. I was discussing with a mutual friend just yesterday morning. It's a heartbreak that you really don't see, you know, but only someone that has experienced it, they know. They know what it's like. So, yeah. So I'm resetting my mind. I'm renewing myself. Um, I'm reviving and I'm realigning, you know, my own frequency. I'm able to speak and I'm practicing speaking again because sometimes it's very difficult because I deal with anxiety and, of course I'm sad. Sometimes I am depressed. Who wouldn't be, you know? But I don't sit in it. I learned to use some tools to kind of shift it. And I really believe in being able to have a platform that can encourage and enlightening and I think entertain. There's so many different things that I'm into, and I've really created my own home as a safe haven, because hey, I have a lot to really not brag about, but I have a lot to be grateful for and know the blessings because here I started from ground zero. And these are the legends and these are the people that, deserve the kudos. When you start from something, from nothing, and you build something, that is something to be commended for. And even if you don't get flowers from anybody else, you need to give them to yourself. And that's about renewing your faith in self and God, that all is going to be well because people cannot do and they will not show up and they definitely will let you down, and they're self-serving, and I'm not with all of that. I'm not with the clicks. you know um I just glow and flow in my own way, and I'm so unapologetic. I'm looking forward to spending some time, and I've had spend some time with people in my past that when I was a teenager and I was emceeing and rapping. I'm one of the pioneers, like I said, in Queens, and they're trying to suppress my history. Exactly. They're trying to really annihilate it. But persistence is the key, and I have a story and I have a history, and that history matters. I was there when before a lot of people started out, but again, I've been watching and listening to a couple of podcasts, and 50 Cent did his thing with that documentary. And of course, you have some people that are alarmed and upset about it. But, you know, this has been going on for decades. And unfortunately, there's such a code of silence when it comes to, you know, um, different things happening to underage children, and as well as up and coming artists. And no one should be able to, and no one should have to have a prerequisite to enter an industry by compromising themselves. And they should not be manipulated and groomed in any kind of way. And because I speak out against it, and I speak up for the survivors and victims like myself, you know, that empowers me. I miss my girl Layla Wills. Layla Wills is on doing other things because she is uh, a historical preservationist, and she's really heavy into the Black Panthers. Shout out to Layla Wills. But when she did this whole documentary on Trapped into a Culture, and it's like when the when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and you just never know um, when that time of healing comes along and there's a spark. And I'm so glad that I've crossed this lady's path. I haven't spoken to her in a while, not for the new year. Spoke to her last year, but I know that she's still around and she's busy, and we had our conversation, and I let her know, how I appreciated her, and that I was going to still continue to carry this mantle, not only for myself, but for other people as well. And it's so unfortunate that, you know, um, a lot of people, talented people, are no longer here, because of some of the insidious things that have been done and promoted. And a lot of the ones that are really big now, you know, they're sworn to a culture of silence. And that's not conducive either. So, anyway, I didn't want to take up too much time because we're almost at the 30-minute mark. And I just wanted to tap in, and I'll probably tap in tomorrow. And yeah, I'll have a better little outline on what I'll be discussing. But yeah, I think for the next couple of weeks, this is what we'll be doing. We'll be doing some renewing, um, realigning, and we'll be doing some reset, renewal, and realigning. So, yeah, peace and blessings and light. And again, tell a friend, tell a friend. I'm Sam behind the mic. See you soon. Have a good night rest and May the light continue to shine within you. Peace.